Yeah. So we're gonna get to our next topic. We only got like one left, really, because we didn't get to have the conversation about the H1-B visa situation.
We only got one left. That sounds like my shop teacher's ball sack.
No.
That's crazy.
That is just diabolical.
Nasty.
Hey,
So
stay away from the bandsaw.
So as we get into this next thing, I just need everybody, people are on opposite sides of this whole H1-B visa idea. And Elon Musk, of course, got in trouble because him and Vivek said something about American culture and how we're not big on STEM and education and things like that. So it's been this big debate about it. But if we're talking about immigration, and the H1-B visa is an immigration type visa, supposed to be reserved for the highest level of people coming over, is that against the whole deportation thing that Trump was talking about, or is that just it's a whole different lane that we're talking about? And I don't want you to answer that, but that's the question I have. So I'm gonna let this other dude explain the H1-B visa thing, and then I'm gonna have Candace Owens and Michaela Peterson argue about it. Okay, that saves me from having to really argue about it. And I get to look at Candace Owens and Michaela Peterson. Okay. Just saying, it's always nice to have a little eye candy. All right, so let's get this done. Let's get
a little eye Candace.
You said it, I didn't. But I appreciate you saying it because I like you. I like you. So
don't sound like Fleece Johnson on me. I like you.
I like you, and I got to have you. We could do this the easy way and the hard way. So nonetheless, some U.S. immigration attorney guy did a video kind of explaining his side of the H1-B visa thing because he was an H1-B visa recipient who has now become a successful person in America. So I'd like to hear his side of it because it's easy to hear, the side that's against it. I wanted to hear the side that was for it. So let me play it for you. Hope you're ready. Like to hear it, here go.
Are you going to change your mind on H1-B visa? I didn't change my mind. I've always felt.
All right.
So why is everybody upset over the H1-B visa program? And why are they saying that H1-B visa workers are actually stealing jobs from American workers? Whoever is saying that has no idea what the H1-B visa is and how it works. I had an H1-B visa when I first came to the United States. In fact, if I wasn't able to get the H1-B visa after graduating from university, I would have to leave the United States and go back to my home country. If that happened, then I wouldn't be able to help thousands of immigrants get their visas, get their green cards, start companies in the United States. H1-B visa is a specialty occupation type of visa. You must have a degree to be able to get it. The job that you're doing in the United States must be related to your degree. There are only 65,000 visas available every year. An additional 20,000 H1-B visas are available to those students that graduate from U.S. universities. Altogether, we have 85,000 H1-B visas per year.
Hold on. Did he say graduate from U.S. universities? So it's only if they graduate from a U.S. university. So they're pre-grad when they get.
No, run it back. Run it back there so you can hear it.
Okay. Let me just bring this back a couple seconds. I'm sorry, guys. He was talking fast. I got the speed up because I'm trying to get through the clip.
Every year. In addition, 20,000 H1-B visas are available to those students that graduate.
All right, so there's different numbers. So it's 85,000
visas available every year.
Every year.
An additional 20,000 H1-B visas are available to those students that graduate from U.S. universities. Altogether, we have 85,000 H1-B visas per year. 85,000 visas, 85,000 jobs are not a threat to the U.S. labor force. Also saying that H1-B workers are getting paid less, and as a result, U.S. employers prefer H1-B workers. Reality is that H1-B workers are subject to a prevailing wage, quite high wages in most states.
So they're doing all right.
Most H1-B workers are actually getting paid pretty good.
Okay.
The reason why we need the H1-B visa program is because we need to fill the gaps.
Here we go with this
science,
shit again.
technology, AI, innovation. We wouldn't have companies like Tesla, Google, Apple, Nvidia if we didn't have workers and founders that came here with the H1-B visa. Because the government have very strict limits on the number of visas, every year they conduct a lottery to determine who's going to be eligible to get those visas. Is the program perfect? No. Is our country perfect? Absolutely not.
Okay.
H1-B visa is an amazing program that helps the United States benefit from amazing talent that otherwise would leave and go somewhere else.
Okay, I get what he's saying, but I just want to illustrate a point. But I just want to
talk to Grade 59 in the chat though.
Grade 59 is being being a little weird right now. That's okay.
Yeah,
That's okay.
They took her
That's
job.
okay. They took her jabs.
They took her
They took her jabs. So let me just, I just want to go over a couple of things that I got in the notes here. So he said there was 85,000 total visas per year.
Yeah, 20,000 US.
But 20,000 of them had to graduate from a U.S. university.
University. So they came here on an education visa.
Right. But what about the other 65,000? That means they don't have college degrees, or they graduated university somewhere else?
No. H1-B requires a college degree before you can even qualify for it. 20 of them are college graduates in the United States. The other 65, right, out of the 85, the other 65 graduated colleges in their respective regions.
Okay. All right. So here's my question, because the main debate has been basically that the type of talent that they're finding is not available here in America. And me personally, I don't necessarily agree with that.
I do.
Okay. Well,
you know what? You know why? It's because every time a certain group of folks want or get into power, the first thing is to divest from the Department of Education, which educates the entire nation.
Right. But that's also part of the problem. So I do agree to a degree with the fact that there's a culture issue where we don't necessarily, put the top level of, I guess you would say, support behind the STEM and all that kind of stuff, right? But I also believe that a lot of that stuff isn't really available the same way because we don't dedicate our kids to stuff like that at early ages. We're more sports and entertainment. It just is what it is. And I think if we focused on those same things, then maybe we would get a similar result. And because we don't focus on it, we don't get that result. So why not focus more energy and attention on building up our education, because we have more than enough people who are capable, and then we can utilize them for those jobs. That's all I'm saying.
Can you look up the cringy article from Vivek on what he said on H1Bs and visas and shit? His article was cringy as fuck, but it makes sense because I was raised in that environment that he was talking about.
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but
do you understand what? Did you read what he was saying?
I heard the entire. That's what I'm saying. I understand it, and I agree with it. Okay, on level one, I'm in total agreement with what the statement is saying. So on the flip side of that, understanding that it's correct, I want to redo resources so that later on it's not correct, if that makes sense.
The problem is that although I do agree with the idea that primary education should happen at home with the people that they're comfortable with, the fact of the matter is that we have to work because we live in a capitalistic society, right? And so we need to send our children somewhere to learn. But the thing is that we're fighting about a bunch of things that we're not even involved in really doing ourselves. So a lot of people who are fighting for education to be a certain way aren't sitting home and educating their children. Right. Because if they were educating their children, they wouldn't be worried about what the Department of Education is doing.
That is also true.
So what I am saying is that there's a whole lot of nonsense being argued in order to make the proletariat dumb. So they're just workers, right? They're not trying to foster anybody extraordinary so they can be the next Zuckerberg or the next Bezos or whatever. Because guess what? Follow their path and I bet you find private school.
True.
Well, that's true too.
But that's all investment. That's all resource investment. That's all that is.
What about single parents, bro? Single parents that's working 2 jobs. You got to depend on the board of education.
Yes.
But I get it. I come from a household where, mom was like, hey, go read the dictionary.
Right.
I want a book report. And like we had to do stuff like that. But a lot of these families, it's one parent and they ain't got the time to do all of that shit.
That's true. But that's not the whole of America. So my point is, I don't feel like there's nobody but it's always come down to there was nobody. You see what I'm saying? Like, really, there was nobody? here that could be brought up in these environments to do these jobs? That's the part that I don't believe. They're coming to American universities, right? Aren't our kids at American universities?
Here's the thing. The thing is that there are two arguments being waged at the same time that mean two different things. H1Bs are arguing for jobs that are 90 grand and above. With the jobs that they say are being stolen by immigrants are the jobs that the Americans do not want to do.
Right.
Okay? So there are two different arguments.
But that's not what he's talking about. But that's not, this guy's not talking about the jobs that Americans don't want to do.
No, I understand that. That's what this particular segment of information is saying. I'm talking about the whole argument as a whole is being amalgamated. Even though H1Bs, they're trying to make it like it's the same as people who just came across the border and are cleaning a hotel. It's not the same thing.
It's not supposed to be the same thing, and that's the argument. That's where the argument's coming in. It's not what it's supposed to be. It's what has happened as a result, and it's not just top-level engineers that are getting the jobs.
It isn't the same thing. It isn't the same thing. The thing is, they wouldn't hire the H1Bs if they weren't affordable. Like, it's the companies that are doing it. The companies, this is their bottom line. So you're blaming the wrong people. You're blaming the person being hired instead of the company that's trying to save money.
Gotcha. I mean, I hear you. I'm just, like I said,
what's wrong? What's wrong with saying I worked my ass off in fucking Lower Botswana and was graduated 5th of my class in computer engineering, and I got a job with Northrop Grumman, and I got my job, right? Mm-hmm. Rather than some dude in like South Carolina who graduated bottom of his class, didn't really even try.
But we're not talking about the bottom of the class, though.
But I know, but what we're saying, like, if we're doing a whole bunch of suppositions and what ifs, this is my what if. You know what I mean? If this motherfucker worked his ass off and got a shot, mm-hmm. If somebody who didn't work their ass off and got a better shot than him, is that fair?
Well, that's
and then on top of that, mm-hmm. The company is going to try to save money because they're gonna get somebody who's fucking hungry and wants to prove themselves.
That is also true. But I don't believe that there's nobody in America that can do that. And that's why I asked the question about American universities, because they're going to the same American university as another American citizen child, right? So why would that education be worth? Today. Why wouldn't they just go get the kid from the same university anyway that was already here? Why would they need to use the other program?
They're not going to get anybody. They're doing who's applying.
Okay.
They're not going to get.
That's who's applying to the H1B visa. But I'm saying a lot of these folks are coming over with a very specific track to a very specific type of job, right? Which is why they're in a college and they graduate with a specific degree. They're not the only ones in the college with that degree or that trek of education, right? So I'm saying, what about the other people that are in the same educational environment? Are they not qualified for the same job?
I think your question was answered.
No, I'm talking, the thing is that you're missing is that the company says, I can get this person from Botswana or India for a cheaper wage, and they're a better candidate because their scores, they were A's in their class for everything. Why wouldn't you do that? That's exactly
what I was getting ready to say. At the end of the day, the people that you are mad at are the companies, but they're always going to be the ones shitting on the American people to get that good dollar. That's it.
But that's where I got confused, because the guy in the video didn't say that they were getting low ass wages. He said we all right. That's what he said. He said we get paid really well.
He said they get paid better, but the way I saw it was, if an American
engineer's wages.
Let me finish. If an American was getting $150,000 for this position, what I got from that video, and I could be wrong, and for those in the chat, speak up. I imagine they're probably getting 100 or 120. Because
they start off at 95, and I know that I've seen H1Bs come into companies I've worked for, and I'm in IT. I know that they come in 95 to start.
And I promise you, there is probably zero room for growth financially, because a lot of companies are just, if you're a contractor or something like that, it's not like, hey, you've been here for 5 years, so we're going to give you a raise. No, you've been here for 5 years, so we're going to send you a nice Christmas knife set or a pom-pom. Yeah, like a coffee mug. I've even got, one of the companies I work for, they sent me a magnifying lens for Christmas. That was my Christmas bug. Like, what am I going to do with that? With a coffee mug and a damn pom-pom.
I'm gonna jump in right here. The thing is that the blame is being put on the wrong space. The blame should be on the companies that are looking for the cheapest wage to pay, because that's the reason why we don't make things here, is because we can use slave labor in China and Malaysia and Vietnam to make our electronics and textiles. That is why we do that. You know what I mean? That is why half of American cars are built in Mexico.
Yeah, but it doesn't. This Mexico manufacturing doesn't require H1-B visas. That's just manufacturing. No. See, what I'm trying to tell you is I'm not talking about H1B visas at this point. What I am telling you is that you need to understand that companies are looking for the lowest dollar to spend possible, right? That's what they're always trying to do, because our capitalist society is always trying to, since what's his name, who used to run GE, turned it around and said, as long as there is investor satisfaction, the company is going to work. So as long as number line go up on stock market, the investors are happy. So they're going to do whatever they got to do that. So it's not as simple as just blaming foreigners, because the foreigners wouldn't come there. Yeah, I don't think that's that's not what I was saying. I'm not blaming the foreigners at all. I'm where you are. The program is what the program is supposed to be. Somewhere in the gray area, there seems to be some confusion about some of the positions that these folks are filling, and they're not those top level engineering positions that we're talking about. So that's where they're taking our jobs is coming from. Give me
an example.
Well, like I'll just say, let's say a hotel manager, right? Like you can find a hotel manager in the U.S.
That's not H1B. That's not H1B. They don't come for that.
What I'm saying is they're not supposed to come for that, and that's where the argument is coming in.
They don't though.
Okay.
They don't.
All right. Well, that's people are saying two different things. There are the top level ones. I'm saying that is happening. That is the part of the program that's supposed to happen. And then there's companies that use the back door to get cheap labor as well. So that's where the secondary
it's all about cheap labor. No, the whole thing is that it's all about cheap labor.
Right.
And it's about that Americans who don't want to do the work expect to have a job. That's where the other part is. You got to do work for somebody to be attracted to have to hire you. You are not promised a fucking job. You need to be attractive to an employer. Period.
Okay. All right. Well, I was going to let Candace and this other lady argue about it, because I just would rather see them do it than us. I mean, we're great. We're great. But, I'd rather see Candace and that Michaela lady talk about it. If that's okay with y'all, is that okay? Because I'm gonna close it out with them, because we're getting ready to get out of here. Because this has been a very interesting conversation, and I think that it's great that we're able to have the conversation. I think that's a good thing. So hold on just a moment. Let me bring this up for y'all. All right, so we have Candace and this Michaela Peterson showed up on Piers Morgan the other day. What was this, 2 days ago? And they were debating about the H1B visa situation. Okay, so because I like their debate, I just wanted to watch it for a second, if that's okay. All right, so everybody enjoy Candace and this lady and Piers Morgan and them arguing and talking and doing whatever.
For Steve Bannon and the diehard.
Well, hold on. Let me give context. The issue is the argument between basically what Bravo and I were just saying. One side is saying that the H-1B visa program is bringing in only top level talent. The other side is saying there is top level talent, but in the mix, there's also some other stuff going on, and that's where there seems to be a problem. So let me go ahead and let them talk about it.
MAGA group, they look at this as a betrayal when they see Vivek and Elon and now Trump as well, all piling in, enthusiastically supporting this. They say, well, hang on, that's not about making America great again. They're not buying into, we need to get all these brilliant people coming here. They think it's a system that's being abused, and it goes against the spirit of MAGA. So you're seeing a real interesting debate raging about the heart of what MAGA really means.
I think Steve Bannon fully has his finger on the pulse there, so he's completely right. And just to respond to the point about seeing racist comments on Twitter, I've heard this argument a lot of times from people where they'll suddenly pretend that if you take a position of something and they can find a racist comment beneath it, then you're on the side of the racist.
That's not what I'm doing.
That's just called... I'm just saying that literally since the day that I started my accounts on Instagram, I've been called the N-word from left and the right. It's just welcome to the internet. Doesn't mean that these are the positions that are represented. In fact, this conversation that we're having is something that I would almost refer to as MAGA 101. This is like a freshman year class in MAGA college.
Okay,
I've been hearing this debate,
having spoken
about this debate on stage. I mean, I've spoken at more than 100 universities. And to be frank with you, because I came over from the left, when I first got into this movement, I thought the same thing. I thought, okay, well, I don't understand what the issue is if it's legal migration. But I then listened to people and I wanted to understand where people were coming from. And I opened my mind to what they were saying and realized that they were very much correct. And I think that's sort of where you get into trouble with the MAGA movement, when you just instantly sweep away and condemn everyone and say, well, some people were saying racist stuff about Indians, and so this entire argument now is based on racism. It simply isn't. Vivek, I personally stumped for Vivek. So if you think that I'm going to be on board with people being racist for him, when I went on the ground with him all throughout Iowa when he was running for president, of course not. I'm also brown myself, but I understand that this has nothing to do with the merits of the arguments that are being presented here. And it is just a fact that the H-1B visa, the majority of the people that are coming into this country are not coming in with any extraordinary skills. They're not coming in because they're a part of the 1%. It is being completely abused and jobs are being taken away from the American people. Now, Piers, to your point about
that's her stand on it, was that it wasn't being used for only the elite talent. And that seems to be where the problem is. I don't think the issue is with top level engineers.
It's never top level engineers. Nobody comes in the C-suite from H1B. Nobody does.
Okay. I'm just saying that's what they're talking about. That's all I'm saying. That's what they're talking about.
But here's the problem. It's like you say that's what they talking about, and she says this is what I hear, but nobody's bringing receipts.
Okay, well, I mean, do you want me to start Google searching live?
Yes, we have a responsibility when people listen to us to be able to tell the truth and believe what the fuck we're saying.
Okay,
with facts.
Okay,
so I'm just saying, just because somebody says a thing doesn't make it true, bro.
Okay. But that could be said about us as well. So I respect that. We definitely need to have receipts on that.
You'll fact check me all the time. I always tell y'all to fact check me.
I'll come back to that. I was gonna let this other lady say her piece so we can get up out of here. But I'll do some additional research just to see if I can find information to the contrary or not. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know the numbers. So I don't know who's in what jobs that has an H-1B visa. I don't know all of that.
I have to, before you run that, it's just I have literally run across probably dozens of H-1B in my life because I work in IT. I have run across dozens of H-1B recipients. You know what I mean? Because and yes, they were Indian, and that's the whole thing. They've been teaching coding over there. They've been teaching they have the whole Dell support centers. We have all of our support centers over there because it's cheap labor. Mm-hmm. So and they get trained on a whole bunch of different things over there. So yes, it's easy for them to transition and become H-1Bs to come here. So that's a thing. That is a thing. But that's because we did it. As America, we outsourced our service centers.
But that doesn't mean that it's right. That just means that we did it. Like we correct it.
We did that, and then the same people who did that are hiring the people that come from there. It's not about like we're arguing amongst ourselves instead of the companies.
Okay. All right.
That's the problem.
I'm gonna let this lady finish her little piece out. Like I said, I don't have all of the numbers of people who are not engineers who are H1B people. Okay. So I can't stand on that because I do not have the supporting information. So I'm gonna let that go.
I'm glad to see it. I very much agree with Steve Bannon. I mean, the last
now I haven't heard what Steve Bannon had to say, so I don't know what the hell she's talking about. Really,
just 85,000 people.
I don't know
that are allowed annually.
Crazy.
Well, the last estimate that was done in 2019 approximated that 600,000 foreign nationals were here on this visa program, all of them being provided with a pathway to citizenship that doesn't include in 2 years. You can then get out of that program and become a permanent resident. Okay, so that they're allowed to stay in this country from up to 6 years. They don't apply for permanent residency. Of course, we can assume that the majority of them do.
That's what she said.
I mean, 10 years if they go to work for the Department of Defense.
That's a bit high.
Again, all of these applicants have a pathway to citizenship.
Fifth of the entire nation.
I just went to work in America as a teacher for a couple of years, and I became a citizen, or as a janitor for a couple of years, and I became a citizen. It's not okay. And I want to be clear, all across the board, it's not just the H-1B. There's a ton of visa programs that are being routinely abused. And like I said, I have faith in the American people.
It's the abuse side that's the problem, not when it's used correctly.
Those positions. I know they can fulfill those positions. And so I am not on the side of Elon Musk and Trump in this debate. And I think that, Elon Musk has been at Mar-a-Lago for a bit too long and thinks that that is the sample of what MAGA is, and it simply isn't. Steve Bannon has been on the ground and spoken to those people for years. He understands what they're saying. And it would be gracious for Elon Musk to kind of step down and recognize that he's simply wrong in this debate.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you
hold up now. I thought the other lady was going to say something as a rebuttal.
Yeah.
To finish that sentence, and I'll get Michaela to respond. But I mean, Musk is he's everywhere right now, literally.
Musk is everywhere. He's in the damn everywhere.
Every country, it seems, in the world, particularly my country.
They did it, though.
Where he's, just in the last 2 days, he's called for the king to dissolve parliament, which he can't actually do. He's called for Sir Keir Starmer, the prime minister, to be imprisoned. He's hammered a previous prime minister, Gordon Brown.
Oh, he hammered him.
Called another senior member of the cabinet here, an evil woman, Jess Phillips, who's been waging a rape genocide apology tour, I think is how he put it. I mean, this is inflammatory, incendiary stuff.
Elon Musk
what do you think his game plan is?
Well, that was what I was going to say to you. And
I thought the other lady was going to talk.
We were able to sit down and speak about a variety of issues.
Hold
but
on,
we
man.
did disagree on Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah.
Yo,
this is a beating.
And I didn't say that he hadn't
beating,
done superheroic things. I thought that he was going to rescue speech on X. Even that's up for debate now, given the H-1B visa debate.
I'll let Candace talk her shit about Elon for a second. Hold on.
Essentially buying a seat at the table, which is what he's done, because we don't know what Elon Musk believes. I am a Christian conservative. Elon Musk, of course, is going to be at odds with me and my beliefs because he wants to put brain chips in people's minds. He wants to go to Mars. These things conflict with me theologically. I think he's a transhumanist. What are his perspectives on marriage?
Transhumanist.
How many different women?
Yeah, beyond human.
13 different children. What is Elon Musk's endgame? And we have not seen people interview him fairly. They're either incredibly hostile to him, like you saw with Don Lemon, or they're too friendly to him, and which they just see him as a superhero. And I would actually like to see someone sit down and flesh out what Elon Musk actually believes.
He believes he deserves more money.
What is he trying to contribute? Because I don't think you can say that you are conservative if you are not ultimately trying to conserve the nuclear family unit.
Bring me vagina and investors.
And so we're now seeing that, okay, maybe this is about AI for him. Maybe this is about data collection for him. Maybe this is about him wanting to be the first person and getting a leg into federal government.
All right,
so that
I'm gonna pause it there because she started. Yeah. So nonetheless, I know she started going in on Elon. I didn't know that's what was going to happen, but I wanted to allow that to happen because, a lot of people would think that because Elon was a Trump guy, that would naturally, like, Candace Owens would, like, be on his side or something. It seems like she's pretty opposed to him. So I just thought that was nice to hear an objective opinion from who I would have thought would have been an ally of his. So that's why.
No. The whole thing is that she is her own best friend, and she's learned that because after she got smacked after the whole rabbi shit, she knows she's her own best friend.
Rabbi Shmuley got sued. That nigga ain't doing shit no more. No,
but guess what? She's married to money. She's married to old money. You know what I mean?
True.
So she's good. She's always been her own fan.
But
so
does
she's gonna be all right.
Does that make her statements about Elon incorrect?
No, I did not say that.
I know you didn't
I said
say
she's
that.
gonna be
That's
her
why I
own.
was wondering what you were talking about.
No, the whole thing is the whole thing is that I respect the things that she is saying, and she's not. And the exact thing I was saying is that she's not going to go ahead and side with Elon because of that's the way everybody is going. She's been her own fan from day one. She tried to play the game and do it her own way because you heard her. She said, "I came from the left." You remember? That's why I said I used to dig her and I don't now because of the switch. You know what I mean? She said that in what she said tonight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I'm still gonna let her say what she says, and when she says something right, I will give her flowers, right? And she said some shit right. The dude bought his way into politics. He's immoral. He has 13 children from a whole bunch of women. Nobody knows what he's doing. She said transhuman, which means that he is literally trying to create a different version of human, which is an affront to God if you look at the Bible.
True.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so I get what she's saying, and I agree with what she is saying. However, of all of this shit, nobody gave receipts about H1B motherfuckers here on, you know what I mean?
No, I said I thought they were gonna argue about it because it started with that topic, but then it went into this Elon Musk thing, and because that's who was talking so much about it. And so I will look into the data, since I don't have the data folks, in the chat right now to give me raw numbers, because at the end of the day, I believe that everybody should have an opportunity to have the best life possible while they spend their time on this planet. So if that requires H1B visas, fine. We should have enough room for everybody, honestly, especially if they're at the top of their class. So I don't have any issue with that.